I'd have to say John Gotti, probably one of the worst, if not the worst, boss ever.
I want to say a big thank you to Michael DiLeonardo, aka Mikey Scars, and RJ Roger for allowing me to use the clip that you're about to see in the following video. What is going on, folks? JJ here. Got another video for you. But before we get into all this, if you're new to the channel, been here before, and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please take a moment of your time, go right down below, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so when I do drop a video, you'll be notified. Now let's get into it. When you go on to No Excuses Patreon page, or when they even do a live show for YouTube, a lot of times they will invite people to come on, followers, other people who, content creators, just anybody they feel like asking to come on and say, hey, you want to say hi to the people, got questions, whatever, let's do it. So it's been a little while, but RJ has always, and Michael has always wanted me to come on for just a few minutes and say hi to everybody, tell them about my channel, you know, ask a question if I wanted to, and they've been really great to me. So I finally got to go and do just a few minutes with them on a live show that was on YouTube about a month or two ago. Not sure exactly, but I will leave the video in its entirety down in the description box below. Okay. So they asked me if I wanted to come on. I was able to go on to short notice that day. And one of the questions I had for them was that in my comment sections on a lot of my videos, a lot of people will say John Gotti was the worst boss, that it was John Gotti's fault that Cosa Nostra fell the way it did. So here's that little discussion that we have, and I'll be right back. One of the things I was wondering, there's a lot of things I wonder when it comes to, you know, the history of the Gambino family and, you know, Sammy's involvement, you know, just basically everybody's involvement.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to know is now I asked the question, the tapes, the Ravenite tapes, they were only really used in John's trial, not the other trials that Sammy had to testify in, correct?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but they could have been used as foundational stuff because there was a lot of hierarchy stuff that was put on record by John Sr Gotti speaking. So it sets the precedent and the foundation for the RICO statute, for sure. So I'm sure they were used at other times, but specifically for the people that were in the cases, no, they were probably innocuous to the case that was at hand. But for foundational use, that's like expert witness tapes. When you hear that and you have the witness up on the stand that was there, you know, it's very hard to debunk it. Of course, there were contemporaneous. Nobody knew they were being taped, of course. So it speaks its truth.
Yeah, because I'm fixing to do a video. I mean, I get a lot of comments on my videos. It was John's fault. Everything was John's fault. And I'm like, look, he could have avoided the limelight if he really wanted to, a little bit more than what he did. But to lay it all on his feet as what's going on, you know, what was the downfall of Cosa Nostra as we knew it back in the 80s and 90s and going, you know, before that, no, he wasn't his fault completely. Matter of fact, he played a very small part.
Well, you know, this thing about the dagger, the death knell for the mob has been said many times. For Balachi, the Gleeson case, the Paul's case, you know, all those tapes with the other bosses. They've always saying there's a death knell and the end of Cosa Nostra. And again, with the Ravenite, should John have talked up there? Absolutely not. He was so wrong about doing that. Speaking inside after all the history that he knew about and himself getting on tape, John was wrong.
Yeah.
So, but as being the end of Cosa Nostra, that's silly.
No, I mean, and I know Sammy and his, I'm trying to be nice here, his minions, okay? What they go and say, well, you know, that was a rat move, what John did. No, it's two members of the administration talking. Look how you go to any corporate, and RJ probably can attest to this. But there has times when maybe the number one guy or the number two person has talked about a third person that's part of the administration. That's not rat move. You're discussing what they're doing, whether it be the good for the good of the company or the bad. And
that's business speak, as what you're saying. That's business speak. And of course, in this case, John bleeds out his disenchantment for Gravano. And everybody can form their opinions of who's right, Sammy's right, or John's right, or whatever. That's up to the viewer to decide. But that's an everyday occurrence. Did Sammy say "fuck John Gotti" to me once? Yeah, he did. When I brought a message, "Fuck him," he said. And I looked at him like I was stunned. I hope Sammy's off the same bug if this comes up. On the road, John, hear it.
Yeah.
They both speak like that. People do speak of it. I know what Sammy's answer was when he looked at me. He said, "It's okay to talk about the boss." Swear to God. That's exactly how the conversation went. I'm paraphrasing, of course. It was a minute conversation. But he corrected himself in that instant because he seen my face like, "What? Fuck John."
Good thing I wasn't Albert Anastasia.
Good thing I'm not the guy to go bring the poison words, the poison the ear, where somebody else could have done that. But who would have wound up at the end of the stick, the bad end? Me. Because he would have believed me and said I was a troublemaker. And how would John have perceived me if John knew I grew up with a guy? Well, I didn't grow up with 10 years, but knew a guy just about my whole life. I'm undermining him. Saying, "Hey, Sammy said, go fuck yourself."
He'd watch you very closely.
He watched me very closely, or I'd be under the hammer after he corrected Sammy. So he can never trust me if I'm giving up a guy I know my whole life. So it's very political there. You got to watch how you navigate that life.
Yeah,
now,
I think
JJ, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Roger.
I was just going to say, to your point on John Gleeson did a interview on Law Business Insider.
Yeah.
And they were discussing his book and various things. But one of the things he stated very clearly, Gleeson was a top prosecutor in that case, and he said, John buried John. I'm paraphrasing what he said. Yeah. John took John Gotti down. So you can take John to court, take John in, you can put him guilty and put him in Marion forever. But you just get John. But everything else in the family still stands. John Gleeson said Sammy was really what helped me take all the mob's power away, to get in, to find out who positioning, where's this person at, what's this person running, Sammy was the one, he said, that helped him break the power of the mob and turn it into what it is today. That's what Gleeson said himself. It wasn't John that buried the mob, according to Gleeson. It was Sammy that buried the mob.
Yeah.
He had a lot. Listen, Sammy interacted with a lot of guys. I'd never take that away from him. He did interact with a lot of bosses and underbosses and skippers, right down the line. He did have a lot of info to give the feds. Even the guys that didn't get pinched, right, in other families, they did. But even the guys that did not in our family, he gave them the blueprint of what was going on, construction, garment district, etc. I could name everything else. Sammy was very impactful for the government, and that's what I think Gleeson meant with RJ just alluded to.
Yeah, there's no
blueprint. And the mob wasn't dead. If he created a vacuum, and the vacuum became guys like Junior and myself who went right to the top through Sammy's testimony in our family, because a lot of captains did get hurt. But the tapes are the tapes. Everybody can interpret them as they see fit and blame who they want. But everybody in that room was wrong. They all talked inside. Nobody forced anybody to talk. Could have said, "Let's go outside. Let's go meet in a restaurant." John's the boss, and he listened to the boss. So it all started with John with the apartment, and John was wrong for talking there.
There you have it, folks. To say John Gotti was the reason why Cosa Nostra fell the way it did is totally inaccurate. Okay. Because we can go back to 1970 when the RICO law was basically, it was made. And I think it might have been back a little bit further, some parts of it. But anyway, if it wasn't for Joe Bonanno and his book called A Man of Honor, Rudy Giuliani would have never had the playbook at the time to use against the Mafia, Cosa Nostra, the way he did. And you got to remember, John Gotti was not the only one, the top dog, to be caught on tape talking. There's the commission trial. Paul Castellano was on tape. They even got wiretaps of Carlo Gambino. There's been a lot of guys, big time guys, caught on wiretaps, legal and illegal. So for a big person or a man of, like John Gotti to be caught on tape is nothing unusual. Nothing unusual. What do you think the commission case was made up of? There's a lot of guys caught on tape. Underbosses, bosses, etc. So to say John Gotti was the reason why the mafia fell the way it did, no. There's Albert Anastasia. He was one of the worst bosses. Carmine Galante. Look what he caused. Look at what the Persicos had done. And Vicamusa and all them. Guys, there is tons of other guys out there that were far worse than John Gotti. His brother, Peter Gotti. Look at him. So to lay all this at John Gotti's feet is total bullshit. Now, did he play a part in it? As in the discussion? Yes, he did play a part in it. He should have known better not to stay in that apartment. He should have took a walk and talk. But he was not the reason why Cosa Nostra, as we know it, fell. Then the final nail in the coffin, Joe Massino. And there you have it, folks. If you like this video, please go right down below. Leave a comment. Hit that like button. And if you want to support the channel, right down in the description box, there's a lot of ways you can support the channel. Anything will be greatly appreciated. I'm fixing to head on out. Remember, folks, when it comes to doing the right thing, helping others out, making this world a better place, try it. It really does work. I promise you. Bye-bye.